Good afternoon, 6-4 parents. Mr. Hagedorn here with our weekly update. I don't think we really have any announcements next week, just kind of a normal 5-day week. In Math 6, we have started Unit 3, talking a lot more about unit rate, really going in-depth in unit rate. Next week, we'll do some small group stuff on Monday, and then we will have our study guide Tuesday, Wednesday, and our quiz on Thursday. Again, focusing on unit rate, getting those ratios down to 1. All right, and then we will start percentages on Friday to finish up, and we'll do that kind of the rest of the quarter. All right, Math 6 Plus, we just wrapped up our percentages unit today, our Unit 3. We took our quiz on percentages today. Overall, kids did really well on those. Next week, we will move on to Unit 1, which is going to be our geometry unit. We're going to start with area and talking about the area of rectangles and parallelograms, and then using that to get into triangles, and then eventually moving on to the new stuff, which is going to be surface area of 3D shapes. All right, have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday.
Hey, I hope everybody's had a good week. The kids just took today their quiz on chapters 9 and 10 of Percy Jackson. Overall, the scores seem to look really, really good. So, also we started digging into Unit 2, which has to do a lot with really actually reading all the myths that are alluded to in Percy Jackson. So the kids are really excited about that. There will also be a little mini characterization project that I'm going to introduce to the kids next week. It's all going to be done at school, so this is nothing that they need to worry about taking home with them or anything. It's just something fun to help them dig into the characters in Percy Jackson and get to know them a little bit better. And then next week, we are going to be covering chapters 11 to 13 in Percy Jackson. So just please make sure your child is either reading it or listening to the read along on Canvas. And that's all I've got for you guys. Have a great weekend.
All right, families, we finished up this week on Thursday and Friday. We did 4 different stations about how heat affects atoms and matter and how that heat can change them from one state to another state. We are going to start next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Well, Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be kind of looking deeper into the states of matter, something the kids are pretty familiar with. We're going to look at the structure of the atoms inside different states of matter, and then when heat is added or removed, what can happen to those states of matter? Can they go from one to the other? And then Wednesday, we're going to wrap up this kind of brief middle unit with matter. And then on Thursday, we are going to start our last big unit of matter is physical properties of matter. Kids will enjoy it. There's a lot of cool things that we'll be doing during that. We're going to start with the intro notes on Thursday, and then we're going to start getting into activities on Friday. We're going to start looking at properties each day. We're going to do mass and volume, and then we're going to do mass, volume, and density. That's when the kids will realize that math and science actually do go together. And yes, we will be doing some math and science, so some kids will be really sad and some kids will be really happy. But either way, I'll be really sad if the Bills don't win on Sunday. However, go Bills. Have a good weekend.
It's Premier League international break, so no Arsenal this weekend, but it's America-Canada tomorrow. All right, let's talk social studies really quick. So we have finished our physical geography unit basically today. The last couple of days, we've been talking about landforms, and we've been making these landform models where we use clay to actually build the different physical features of our world. We've also been talking about geographic modifications that people do. Like you can see my Capri Sun straw right here is actually an aqueduct bringing water from the mountains down to the lowlands, the farmlands kind of thing. So we've been talking about levees, and we've been talking about aquifers and aqueducts, and reservoirs and different pieces of modification to that physical world. We're done with that now, so we kind of understand what the world looks like, basically. We understand some of the modifications humans are making to help them live in those spaces. And from this point on, starting on Monday, we're going to start talking about the peopling of the earth, the migration around the world that we will be studying. And then we're going to get into probably Wednesday, the beginning of the agricultural revolution, as people stop being hunter-gatherers and start to be more settled humans, growing their own food and building that civilization out of the surplus of food, which will take us a couple of days after that. Then we're going to get into a couple of other kind of interesting geographic things right as we get to the end of our quarter, right before we track out. So that's what we've been doing in social studies. One quick note, there is a grade that is kind of hanging out there right now. Your students might be asking you a little bit, or you might be asking them about it. It's called Thinking Like a Historian. End of unit check. I have about half of them graded. I thought I was going to get them done by today, but I didn't. So hopefully over the weekend I will get them graded. I talked to students about it. So that's something that they will have a grade pushed out to them through PowerSchool in the next couple of days. But it is also an assignment that if a student scores a low assignment, there's going to be a second attempt on that one. So if you see a first attempt score that's not so great, don't freak out. We'll talk about how to fix that if we need to. All right? So have a lovely weekend. We'll talk to you next week.